So, the reason you're all here today is to learn about leadership and Rainbow. And so, we have 10 words that kind of explain to you what it means to be a leader. So, inspiration and imagination. Does anyone have a definition for inspiration? I think that's Kiki, yes. Yeah, pretty much. So, to fill someone with the urge or ability to do or feel something, so you are spot on. Does anyone have a definition for imagination? I think that's Jennifer. Yes. Again, that is really close. So the ability of the mind to create or be resourceful. So you guys know your definitions. That's amazing. So, some helpful tips for how to, be an inspiration not only to others but also to yourself. So you have to be kind. Something we learned in Rainbow, and especially in pledges, because they have a sister of kindness in pledges, is you have to be kind to others but also to yourself. So, when you're feeling down, you got to encourage yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. And when your sisters are feeling down, you cheer them up, you encourage them, and you're kind to them. Also, you need to be committed. So, obviously, you all have shown a wonderful commitment to Rainbow because you're here today. So, you guys are pretty good on the commitment part. So, commitment. What does commitment mean to you? Natasha. Yeah, that's great. So, again, you guys have shown wonderful commitment by being here, and I know you guys probably all go to your meetings, your initiations, installations, and fundraisers. And that shows your commitment to Rainbow and to yourself. So, we're here today, the Leadership Council, because we want to be mentors to you. And part of being an inspiration is you want to serve as a mentor. I definitely learned this over the past year, and people looked up to me. That's something, that happens when you're a Grand Officer. You have those new initiates that look up to you. So you want to be able to set a good example for them, and you want to be able to mentor them and give them something to look forward to. And Mary Poppins is very inspirational. I have the Mary Poppins group, shout out guys. So, imagination. Everyone remembers Curious George, right? Curious George was amazing. I loved Curious George. So, if you have a good imagination, you're really curious like George. And I know some of you guys are very curious. When you first join Rainbow, you want to learn and you want to study your ritual because you're curious about what you can learn and what you can teach to others. And because you're curious, you're very excitable. I remember when I was initiated, my first Grand Assembly, we had a corner room in Pine Valley. It was a beautiful room, but I was out there on the porch because I was excited and I wanted to get proficient because I wanted to go on the line. And I was out there studying laws, and I took it, I think, at Grand Assembly. So I was excited, and you guys are excited too. And then you have to have a vision. So my vision was I wanted to be Grand Worthy Advisor one day, and I think Ansley's was probably the same. And Brooklyn's too. So you guys have to have an end goal in mind with your imagination. I mean, I imagine what it would be like if I was Grand Worthy Advisor. And you guys can imagine what it'll be like in the offices that you're going for. And supercalifragilisticexpialidocious is a very imaginative word. So I'm going to hand it off now to Ansley Ray.
All right. So my 2 words putting together are enlarging positivity. So we wanted to make it one kind of bold statement for you instead of 2 separate words, because enlarging is a word that perhaps you've never heard before in the context of leadership. What does it mean? What does it look like? Well, enlarging in general means to make something bigger, right? And so in the context of leadership, we would say to be enlarging when someone has that quality, they make others bigger. They make people around them feel better, and they're positive about it, and they make other people feel positive. And part of that, a big part of that, is stepping out of your comfort zone. As a Grand Officer, as someone who's in the spotlight, like Victoria said, people look up to you. And people want to see you stepping out of their comfort zone before they will do it themselves. And that kind of sounds like a big deal. It sounds like something you can't really picture, or maybe it's too far above your head, but it can be really, really small things. Like when we're at the social at Grand Assembly and you're like, I don't know if I want to play this game. Am I going to look dumb? Am I going to look stupid? Forget that. Being a leader is about stepping out of your comfort zone and saying, I'm willing to do this, even though it might make me feel uncomfortable, because it's going to make someone else feel comfortable. It's going to make someone else smile. It's going to make someone else laugh, and that's about being a leader, is making other people feel positive and feel engaged and feel part of something. And that also goes with my quote for this slide, which is, be brave enough to be bad at something new. Nurturing courage in others. That's, like I said, a big part about being enlarging is to tell other people, hey, you're doing a great job, and lead them in a direction that will allow them to have a vision, that will allow them to be excited and committed, because you're able to tell them, you're doing a great job at this, and like, these are your strengths, and we want to see more from that, more of that from you. And spreading an optimistic attitude. Everything you say sounds better with a smile. It's just true. And so, like we heard in the elevator speech, people want to see you making eye contact and smiling and being positive and being upbeat. And it's hard. It's not easy to do that all the time, but that's what a leader is consciously thinking about. They're constantly thinking, okay, how can I make someone else feel more comfortable? How can I extend a great attitude to this person so that they'll remember me as someone who is positive and is upbeat and is always making other people feel like they're able to do something. And it's all about your perspective. I've learned this in college so much. If you go into a test or you go into anything and you're like, I could fail and it could be the end of the world, you might fail and it might feel like the end of the world. But if you go into anything and you say, I might fail, but it's not going to be the end of the world because I'm going to be able to pick myself back up, that's huge. And it helps you being a leader. It helps you being someone who people look up to, because they're able to see you as someone who says, okay, like, let's put this into perspective. Let's be positive and let's help others along their journey. And you can't see in the corner there, but it says, the right attitude will move mountains, which is true. Okay, continuing. Persevere through your challenges. This also goes back to having the right perspective. If you have the right perspective, it'll be easier for you to persevere through your challenges, because you'll be able to put things in perspective and understand how you can be positive and how you can stay positive through your challenges, even when they're hard and you can't see the end. You want to help others see the good in every situation. When you have perspective, it's so important for you to share that with other people. For you to be like, if you hear someone speaking negatively and you hear someone not being able to put their own situation in perspective, it's important that you're able to help them say, no, okay, this is the positive aspects of the situation you're in, and how can you even make it better? And you want to constantly give positive feedback to those who you are leading. I took a leadership seminar when my first semester in college, and that was one of the most important factors in being a leader in the business world, in any aspect, is giving positive feedback to people and giving positive reinforcement. I'm also in a health psychology class this semester, and it's the same thing. People come back to those who give them positive reinforcement, and that's how you can eventually get to the point where you can give someone critical feedback, is by first giving them positive feedback and by first saying, these are your strengths, this is where you've had a great start, like your elevator speeches. The first thing you want to say to someone is, that was a great way to start it. You did X, Y, and Z perfectly. You had amazing body language, and you said these words correctly. And someone will come back to you if they feel like you give them a reaction that makes them feel welcomed and loved and appreciated. And then as you build that relationship with someone, you can then step into, okay, you're doing this great, how can you make it better? And always having that aspect of being positive rather than being negative when you're trying to help someone and lead them and nurture courage within them. And this is one of my favorite quotes ever. Spread love wherever you go. Let no one ever leave you. Let no one ever come to you without leaving happier. And I'm going to give it to Cheyenne.
Touching up on what Ansley said about giving positive reinforcement, I'm going to be talking about being trustworthy and supportive. Trustworthy leadership and supportive leadership are both very important for grant officers. Starting with trustworthy, you have to be approachable. You have to do what you say, when you say you will, and you have to be able to be confided in. So you have to be there for others, and you have to make sure that they know that you will be there for them. And being supportive is kind and caring, giving advice or lending an ear, and being helpful. Starting with trustworthy, you must be honest even when it's difficult to do so. So I don't mean to bash your sisters, but if somebody makes a mistake on their ritual, then you have to kind of be there and be honest with them. You have to tell them that maybe you could do a little bit better on this part specifically, but then offer to help them with it. Don't just tell them you didn't do the best job. Actually be there for them for it. You have to know when to offer advice or when to listen. Sometimes girls just want to have your ear. They want to tell you what's on their mind. They want to know that you're there just to listen to them. Sometimes they already know subconsciously what their next plan is. Be there when needed. If a girl wants you to do a part, whether it's installing or if it's an initiation and she's not from your assembly, you should be there for her. Not everyone's there 24/7, but try to be there when you can. Lead by example and don't be hypocritical. That's very important because everyone can say, do your best 24/7, but girls will trust you more if you actually strive to do your best and you try to be the perfect example. Don't take a step that you wouldn't want your fellow Rainbow Sisters to take as well. Going on to supportive leadership, you should always encourage teamwork. Things get better and they get done a lot quicker when you have girls on your side. When we have fundraisers, sometimes we need more than just 4 girls. If you don't have that many girls in your assembly, it's really good to ask for help from other assemblies. We love visiting one another, and it really strengthens our sistership. Do not delegate a task or ask someone to help complete the task. Being a leader is not just pointing your finger and saying, go do that, you need to do this, or I need you to, help me tie my dress or something. Help them when they can. If somebody doesn't know necessarily what they're doing, kind of guide them through it. Not every girl, especially younger girls, knows what they're doing when it comes to fundraisers or when it comes to doing ritual work. So like earlier with the ritual, always help them through it if you can, especially with our younger girls or some girls who may have learning disabilities. It's always nice to kind of give them a guiding hand, whether it's, hey, I learned my ritual by speaking in the mirror, or I write my ritual down. Pointers like that. Know that support should not feel like work. If you feel like something is too much for you and the girl's just going through something, you've got advisors for that. Being leaders is not just being able to handle everything that comes to you. Sometimes you need advisors, and Rainbow Girls were very lucky to have such great advisors. And a great advisory board, assistant mother advisors, always there to help you. Be committed to the success of others. While you are the leaders, like we say in our ritual, you always return to the ranks. So you want to make sure that the girls that are going up after you are prepared to take on the responsibilities that you had yourself. As much as every one of us in this room would love to stay in Rainbow until we are in the graveyard, eventually there's going to be other girls that need to come up, and we have to help our younger sisters get to where they want to go as well. Understand the end goal. Being a leader is, like I mentioned earlier, it's kind of tied hand in hand. It's not just you that you have to support at the end of the day. It's every single one of your Rainbow Sisters, every single girl that's there, and every girl that's to come. You also have to focus on your fundraisers. Rainbow is a nonprofit organization, and we are very fortunate to have Camp Boggy Creek as our state service project, and whatever fundraiser you've got in your private assembly. I know a popular one is the Shriners Hospital as well. Always make sure that you know at the end of the day that you're doing what your end goal is for your assembly. And keep advisors in mind. Like I mentioned earlier, they're there to help you. If you may not know what you should be doing, always ask an advisor. You come up with great ideas, but you may not know how to implement it. Always ask an advisor for help, because they may know exactly how to get you to that step that you want next. If a girl feels supported by you, she will trust you. At the end of the day, that's all there is to it, because you can support a girl all you want, give her as many pointers, but if she doesn't feel like you're being genuine, then she may not come to you for advice. So you always want to make sure that you truly mean what's in your heart. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Miss Cora Coward.
I'm going to talk to you about confident flexibility. I know it doesn't even sound like a real word, but confident flexibility is about obviously being confident, but it's also about being flexible. And it doesn't mean, and I don't mean flexible like you're able to bend forward and touch your toes, because I can't even touch my toes. Confident flexibility is, like I said, being confident. It's being feeling or showing confidence in yourself, being self-assured. And I'm sure everyone knows what being confident is. If you don't, you can listen to Demi Lovato's song about it. It's lovely. And flexibility, willingness to change or compromise. It's about adapting to whatever life throws at you. It's being able to do what your best friends want to do. If you take a vote where you're supposed to eat and you don't want to eat where they want to eat and you decide to go to McDonald's instead. It's compromising. It's willingness to change. It's whatever life throws at you, you're willing and able to adapt. So confident flexibility is being confident enough in yourself and your own abilities to change and adapt to life around you and adjust to new conditions, because things change every day, every minute, every second. You never know what you're going to get. How can I be confident? You need to visualize yourself as what you want to be. If you don't see yourself being a confident young woman, then you're not going to be confident. You need to believe in yourself. Otherwise, nothing's going to happen. You need to affirm yourself. Compliment your own self, because there might not always be rainbow girls next to you to say, you did a really good job at this. You might want to improve on that. You need to be your own, hype man. Be your own hype person. Encourage yourself. Do one thing that scares you every day. Simple as that. There needs to be one thing that you've never done. It scares the bejeebers out of you. Do it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do anything. If you stay at your own routine, if you don't change it up, you're never going to do anything. If you do one thing that scares you every day, you're going to build your own confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from thin air. You have to build it. And who knows you better than yourself? Question your inner critic. I know everyone has their little voice in their head that says, this is good, this is bad, you might not want to do this. You also have one that says, okay, you did really bad on that test. You need to be like, no, I did it differently. I may not have gotten the math answer. I got it right, but it didn't get that way through the way I was supposed to. You still got the right answer. As long as you make it to the end, it doesn't matter what the journey is. Everyone's journey is different. Realize no one can make you feel inferior unless you let them. That's being confident. It's not letting anyone tear you down. It's about being yourself, believing in yourself. Help and care for others and yourself. Help others. That's how you're going to build your confidence. If you help other people, then they're going to believe in you, and that's going to help you feel better about yourself. Even if you can't build your own self up, they're going to help you. But if you don't care for yourself, you can't be a confident young lady if you're not at your best. If you're not at your best, you're not going to be able to do much of anything. Set personal boundaries. There needs to be a line that you may or may not cross. There needs to be goals you need to work to achieve. And once you set those goals, then you can achieve those goals. Confidence is the cornerstone of leadership. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you believe in others? Flexibility. You need to have an open mind all the time. Closed minds get nobody anywhere. And you need to welcome new alternatives. There's always a different way to do something. Just because you've done it one way all your life doesn't mean that another way is wrong. It just means it's different. If you want to be more flexible, you need to start small. You can't conquer the Mount Everest if you don't start with a little molehill in your backyard. Then you're going to stretch your brain. Once you finish that small goal, your confidence is going to be built. And then you need to push yourself. You need to stretch your brain. Do more. That's how you're going to be more flexible. Because being flexible is being able to do whatever you need to do in any situation. And if you do it confidently, no one's going to be able to tell that you have no idea what you're doing. Rethink your to-do list. If you have X, Y, and Z to do each and every day, you're never going to accomplish anything because you're only doing X, Y, and Z every single day. You need to rethink your to-do list. Don't even have a to-do list. Just have a list of goals. Change up your routine. Just like rethinking your to-do list, if you change up your routine, you're going to counter new situations where you need to be flexible. You're going to push yourself. You're going to stretch your brain. You're going to accomplish more goals confidently. Question the norm. Just because you did something one way all your life doesn't mean you can't do it differently. Like I said, question the norm. What is normal? Nobody in here, it better not be. Everyone's weird in their own way. Everyone's special in their own way. There is no normal. So question it. It's not right. You have your own opinion of yourself, and that's the only opinion that matters. And not even that. Your opinion of yourself does not matter. Whose opinion matters is God's. As long as you're only living for Him, who cares? Be yourself, be confident, and if you're flexible and you're confident while you have no idea what you're doing, but nobody else knows that except you. Just like nobody else knows that you just messed up your ritual part 5 bajillion times except the person holding the ritual. Don't force it. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. Don't push yourself too hard. Confidence. Today or never. That's my motto. And flexibility. Open different doors. You may find a you there that you never knew was there. Never knew was yours. Anything can happen. And I'm going to turn this over to Amia.
Hi, everybody. To touch upon every one of their presentations, you cannot have what they have unless you don't have passion, commitment, and passion. I would like to touch upon the few words on the slide. As Rainbow Girls, we take action. We love each other. We love what we do. We get an education out of it. We learn from others. We also learn respect, kindness, and understanding. I would like to start off with passion. I know the definition up there, but can anybody give me their own definition of passion? Yes, Savannah. Okay, what she said is totally correct. Now, if everybody in this room didn't have passion about Rainbow, you guys wouldn't show up, right? So we all have passion for this organization that we love so much, right? So in our ritual, we must have passion in men and women, right? In all righteous things. We take a commitment. I know me and everybody in here at the altar of white light, without commitment, what are we doing? Nothing, right? I like this quote from Mary Poppins. Nothing such as useful word isn't it. It can mean anything and everything. What do you guys get from this quote?
So that is a lot of words to remember, and I totally get that. So we have commitment, passion, inspiration, supportive, enlarging, positivity, confidence, flexibility, and trustworthy. And how do you guys think you're going to remember this? Any ideas? You're close. Jennifer? Acronyms! I love acronyms! So, our acronym is Compassion is Epic for Teens. And that stands for compassion. So the C, commitment, passion. So, can you see it, how it works? You see it? You see it? Okay. Okay, so compassion, and then is the inspiration and supportive. Epic is EP. I missed an I. Okay, so compassion is epic for teens. You guys are all teens, pretty much, I think. Yeah, all of you would be teens. So compassion is epic, and just think of that, and it'll help you remember these words. So what are we remembering? Hey, yeah, great job, guys.